Okay, welcome to another installment of the Lord Mayher reading. We are now in the year 1948, and we begin the reading on online page 2636. And who would like to start the reading?
I can start, Marvin.
All right, go ahead, Eva.
Erich woke up the other Mandali and everyone started packing. Erich had more to do than the others since he had to pack Baba's personal belongings, such as his clothes, towel, soap, razor, etc., as well as his own. When he was in the middle of packing, Gustaji came over and started asking him questions by making hand signs since he was on silence. Erich felt annoyed, but answered as best and briefly as he could. They found another hotel and checked in, but again, Baba began complaining of noise and stated they should go somewhere else. There will be noise in or around any hotel in the city, Erich said. If you want a quiet place, we will have to go to the suburbs. Baba agreed. We'll have to go by train, Erich pointed out. And to go to the station, we will have to hire a tanga or taxi. They will charge us a high price as it is the middle of the night. But Baba replied, it does not matter. We'll go by train. So once more, Erich had to pack everything. And with the luggage, they proceeded to the train station, some half asleep. They reached the suburb of Aura and checked into a secluded hotel. Baba liked it, and Erich again started to unpack his things. Dawn was just breaking when Gustaji approached Erich and began making hand signs in front of his face. The days and nights' weary labor had shortened the fuse on Erich's temper, and he angrily exploded. Am I supposed to unpack Baba's things or read your damn signs? My God, I am trapped between two dumb mutes. Baba had just entered the room and heard his remark. He demanded, am I dumb? Pointing to Gustaji, Baba said, he may be dumb, but I am not. Erich apologized, but lamented. The whole night has passed unpacking and packing our things. It is good I have the strength to do it. But how in the hell am I supposed to understand Gustaji's signs in the dark? He has time to make signs only when I am preoccupied with something else. One person who does not talk is enough for me. Referring to Gustaji, Erich remarked, I do not like having to attend to this other dumb mute. Why do you repeat dumb mute? Baba asked. He who can speak but does not is not dumb. The Mandali had eaten no dinner the night before, so Baba allowed them a hearty breakfast before setting out for his must work. He contacted 9 musts in 2 days. Among the most significant was the high must Haji Tilwala, with whom Baba had worked before. Tilwala was covered from head to foot with rancid cooking oil, tel, and was unbelievably dirty. Baba also contacted the 5th plain must, Shah Jahan, who was also very dirty and kept himself in a dark room filled with junk. The room was like a tomb. It had no windows. When Baba was out looking for musts on Mukama Ghat in Batan Agar on Thursday, 1 April 1948, an amusing incident took place. Baba was conversing with Baidul, Chagan, Erich, Gustaji, and Kaka. As Gustaji was keeping silence, he was talking with his fingers. And Erich, who was the most adept at putting his gestures into words, was interpreting for Baba. Because Gustaji had enjoyed a bumper breakfast that morning, he was in a good mood and his fingers moved rapidly. Nearby, a policeman was observing this odd exchange and became suspicious. He asked everyone to accompany him to the police station. Erich asked what they had done wrong. This man is not speaking but making signals, and I am suspicious of him. You have to come with me to the station to be interrogated. The policeman thought there were some secret coded messages being passed between Baba and Gustaji by signs. Due to the bitter relations between India and Pakistan at the time, even the smallest, most trivial incidents were viewed with apprehension. Erich assured him, "We are Parsis, and this person is dumb, and therefore was speaking through signs." Gustaji's feelings were pricked by this repeated remark, and he gestured to Erich. "Why do you always call me dumb? Am I dumb or observing silence?" Erich did not pay any attention to him and continued talking with the officer. But Baba snapped at Erich. "What is he saying? What is he saying? Why don't you tell me what Gustaji is saying?" When the policeman saw there were two dumb persons in their group, he became even more suspicious. Erich, with difficulty, persuaded him of their innocence, and the man left. Now, an argument ensued between Erich and Gustaji. Gustaji asked again, "Why do you always call me dumb?" "Had I not said you were dumb, you would have been locked up in jail," Erich explained. "So what?" Gustaji said. "That would have been better than being insulted." Baba continued goading Gustaji and at the same time demanding that Erich interpret his gestures. Finally, Erich got so exasperated, he told Gustaji, "Pardon me, henceforth I will never call you dumb again." But this was not the end of their confrontation. Baba continued to encourage Gustaji to keep on talking, and he went on making more and more signs, which Erich not only had to listen to, but also interpret and repeat. At last, Erich got so fed up with Baba siding with Gustaji that he exploded in sheer anger and said something disrespectful to Baba. After a little while, Baba asked, "Do you know how much you have pained me?" Erich had cooled down and answered, "I did not mean it. Others have used much stronger language than I did. You did not feel so pained then. You have no idea how much you have shocked my heart. Listen to this story and you will realize why I feel so deeply hurt." Baba then recounted. A woman in a village once cohabitated with a man who was not her husband, and the people came to know of it. It was the custom then to punish such a crime by making the adulteress sit in a circle. Every villager would then pick up a stone and strike her. The woman was made to sit in the town square, and the villagers began stoning her one by one. When the woman's daughter turn came, she could not bring herself to stone her own mother. Instead, she picked up a rose and threw it at her. But the rose wounded the woman much more than all the stones combined, because it came from her daughter, one whom she dearly loved and had raised so tenderly. Similarly, other stones do not hurt me as deeply as your rose. After his must contacts, Baba went to stay to a small railway station near Calcutta on the night of 1 April to proceed via the mail train to Hardwar. The station was crowded, and to get seats in third class with all their baggage was impossible. So it was decided that Baba, with Erich, should travel with the baggage by first class, and Gustaji, Chagan, Kaka, and Baidu by third class. Erich was serving as Baba's personal attendant then, and so was to be by his side at all times. Gustaji conveyed, "I will help by loading the luggage in the compartment," and so he too was taken with Baba into first class. When the train arrived at the platform, there was the usual scramble for accommodation, and Erich efficiently made Baba sit in the first class coupe and briskly loaded their luggage inside. Thereafter, by flashlight, he signaled the other Mandali at the other end of the platform that all was well and that he was boarding the train. The train started, and Erich began arranging the luggage in the small compartment. After a few minutes, Baba asked Erich what happened to Gustaji. Erich looked throughout the train and, failing to find him, thought he had been left behind. He replied, "He must be back on the platform. What should we do now?" "Don't worry," Baba gestured. "But he is old and on silence," Erich protested. "He'll have a hell of a time making himself understood." From the next station, send a wire to the station master, and Chagan will go back and bring him, Baba ordered. A noise like the squeaking of a rat was heard, and Erich switched on his flashlight, but could not discern anything in the darkness. In those days, the trains had no electric lights, and the compartments were dark at night. Again, the sound was heard, and Erich searched their compartment, but found nothing. Noticing that there was an empty seat, he thought that perhaps a fellow passenger had gone to the lavatory. But he could not locate the latrine. He then realized that the toilet door was completely covered by their baggage. He began shifting the luggage, and Baba asked, "Why are you doing that?" "The door to the lavatory is blocked," Erich replied. "It is just possible the other passenger is inside." Erich moved the obstructing luggage away, and to his surprise, found Gustaji sitting inside. Baba chided Gustaji, "Wherever you go, you always go to the toilet first. How much urine do you pass in a day? You came along to help load the luggage, and you instead get locked in the loo." Gustaji replied, "The urge to piddle was uncontrollable. Had I helped with the bags, I would have stained my pants." And Baba and Erich could only laugh at Gustaji's serious expression. April and May are the hottest months in India, and it was scorchingly hot traveling in the train during the day. And maybe another reader?
I'll pick it up here.
Okay.
Baba would not permit the Mandali to open any of the windows or ventilators because his sensitive sinuses could not bear the slightest draft. When their small compartment grew unbearably hot, Erich took off all his clothes. He began gasping for air in the stifling coach and looked like a naked must covered with sweat. The compartment became like a black hellhole of Calcutta. Baba appeared to be sleeping, and Erich took the opportunity to go to the toilet, where he turned on the tap. He was so desperate for a bit of fresh air, he stuck his head down the toilet a hole open to the tracks beneath the train to breathe. When he returned, Baba had covered himself with blankets and still seemed to be resting, oblivious to the heat. When the train halted at Benares, Baba saw a man dressed in ochre-colored clothes entering an adjoining compartment with two or three of his votaries. Watching him, Baba gestured, "A very good soul." Afterwards, Baba sent Erich to him to inquire about saints and sadhus in Uttarkashi. Erich discovered that the man was a resident of Uttarkashi and was known by his followers as Devgiri Maharaj. He had not left his native place for years, but coincidentally was now returning after a brief visit to Benares. Baba indicated he was an advanced soul. Devgiri Maharaj got down at Allahabad, and Baba continued on to Hardwar, arriving on Sunday, 3 April 1948. There he instructed Kaka and Shagan to purchase provisions for their journey along the mountainous track to Uttarkashi. Baba left with Baidul, Erich, and Gustaji to find and contact musts. In Hardwar, among those Baba worked with was a strange must known as Hanuman Baba. This must had 3 rows of teeth in his upper and lower jaws. Baba indicated he was a good must. Hanuman enjoyed giving money to children, although it was a mystery how he obtained his money, because he never begged. Baidul attempted to give the must 1 anna, but he refused to take the money and instead gave Baidul 1 anna. After these contacts, when Baba was on his way to contact other musts, his gaze fell upon an old man dressed in rags. Baba sent Baidul to elicit information from him about the whereabouts of musts, and on Baidul's return, they walked off. But the old man was magnetically drawn to Baba and followed them down the street. Next page. On Baba's instructions, Eris asked him the reason why he was following them. The old man replied, "I am in search of a guru because Kabir has said that without the help of a guru, God is not experienced. I am now old and afraid I may pass away without realizing Paramatma." Looking at Baba, he continued, "In you, I see the man fit to guide me on the path." Baba smiled and, speaking through Arich, advised the man, "Try to love God more and more, so much so that you feel like a fish out of the ocean whose only desire is to return to the ocean." Baba then walked away. During the course of the afternoon's rambling along the roads of Hardwar in search of musts, Baba expressed to the Mandali his appreciation of the old man's love for God. Strangely enough, they saw the man again across the street. Baba beckoned to him, and seeing that he was about to receive prasad from the one fit to guide, the old man washed his hands and feet before coming. Baba handed him 3 oranges, spelling out, "Seek Paramatma within you with an ever-increasing love. If you do that, you will soon realize God." Age appreciated the man's insight. The man did not know who Baba was, but he did know Baba was the right man to lead him to the goal. From Hardwar, on the morning of Sunday, 4 April 1948, Baba and the Mandali boarded a bus bound for Rishikesh. Upon arriving there, 9 Nepalese coolies were hired for the transport of their luggage through the mountainous trek to Uttarkashi. While in Rishikesh, in a place called Brahm Ashram, Baba had a good contact with the widely respected Tapovan Swami. On the 5th, Baba and his men started for the town of Teri Garhwal by bus. The Nepalese coolies carried their luggage left on foot via a shortcut through the mountain passes. Baba and the Mandali reached Teri in the evening. The next day in Terry, Baba worked with a very good must known as Ahmed Sufi Saheb, who oddly enough sold soap on the street. This must was much respected throughout the town. Baba also contacted an advanced soul called Must Yogi in Terry, whose abode was in a mute stable. This yogi, who had become a must, was completely oblivious to any of his physical needs. Baba and the Mandali rose early on the morning of 7 April, and the whole party, including the coolies, began their walking journey to Uttarkashi. Famous for harboring spiritual seekers, yogis, and sadhus, Uttarkashi is about 40 miles from Terry Garhwal. The distance does not seem overly far considering the length of Baba's other foot journeys in the past, but this Himalayan mountain was steep and laced with rough tracks, and the intense heat relentlessly beat down upon them throughout the day. Baba and the men wore tennis shoes and carried satchels on their backs. By midday, they had covered 12 miles and reached the Dak bungalow in Sayansu Forest, where they stopped to rest. In the evening, the Nepalese coolies sat together, relaxing by smoking a hookah, a water pipe, which was a common indulgence of the local villagers, and which Shagun was also fond of smoking. They left the Dak bungalow on the 8th at 5 o'clock that morning, reaching Darasau, 14 miles away, and halting at the Kali Kambiwala Dharmashala. They continued their foot journey early on the morning of the 9th, covering 16 miles to reach Uttarkashi, high in the Himalayas. By the time they arrived, they had blisters on their feet and were exhausted. Yet the scenery was breathtaking and exceptionally enchanting, with the peasant shepherds grazing their sheep and goats in the valley. Baba, Baba stayed in a large dharmashala built by a famous Indian industrialist named Birla. The work that Baba had come to do in Uttarkashi began from Saturday, 10 April 1948. Baba worked with 3 advanced souls brought to the Dharamshala that day. Balhara Baba was naked except for a loincloth and lived off the wilds, eating only fruit, flowers, and herbs. Digambar Avadut was a genuine sadhu. A must called Ramananji was completely naked and had been silent for many years. After these contacts, later that day, Baba set out and contacted other seekers and advanced souls. Among the most interesting was Ganganand Maharaj, an old man who, oddly enough, was found reading some manuscript in a small dark room of the Kailash ashram in Vajali. Baba liked Ganganand so much that he contacted him twice. In the evening, Baba went to see Naganandji Brahmachari. He was a very good Bengali must, almost 80 years old, and dressed in soiled, tattered clothes. He was staying in a temple of Durga, and when Baba went to him, the must led him to an isolated room in the temple where they could be alone. Oh, I'm sorry. There, in that dark room, Gunanji struck 40 matches, and in the light of those flames, gazed at Baba's magnificent face and countenance. Examining Baba's every feature closely, the must's own features filled with joy and ecstasy. Baba was pleased with the contact. Baba also contacted Mangalgiri Maharaj, who was known to be 104 years old. He was an extremely thin yogi whose body was bent over toward the ground. During that day in Uttarkashi, Baba contacted other advanced sadhus and seekers, a total of 16 pilgrims of the path. The following day, Sunday, 11 April 1948, Baba went to the village of Tilat, where he contacted Vishnu Dutt Digambar, an elderly monk in his 80s, but he also appeared untouched by time. Among all the contacts in Uttarkashi, he was the best, and Baba remarked about him, he is three things in one, a must, a saint, and a child. This very high must was completely naked and had been silent for many years. Vishnu Dutt Digambar used to beg for his food at five particular houses, reminiscent of Sai Baba, who also begged at five houses. When Baba left, the must bid farewell to Baba with kisses. Footnote: in later years, Baba named Vishnu Dutt Digambar as one of the seven advanced souls Baba called his beloved children. Devgiri Maharaj, the man with his followers whom Baba had noticed on the train from Benares, arrived in Uttarkashi on the 12th. Baba went to see him in the Vishwanath temple. This was the last contact Baba made in Uttarkashi. Significantly, he had stated and ended his work with this adept pilgrim of the mental planes. Baba had contacted 25 sadhus and 35 musts, or advanced souls, in those 3 days. Wow. Before leaving, Baba brought a black and brown mastiff puppy. Baba named it Gol Gol, which roughly translates as roly poly. Throughout the return journey to Ahmednagar, Baba himself would look after and feed the puppy. And a footnote: the dog's name was shortened to Gulu and then to Booty, as she had white paws. Booty later gave birth to one of Baba's favorite dogs, Mastan. Starting back on foot from Uttarkashi on the morning of the 13th, Baba and his 5 companions spent the next 3 days retracing the route they had taken on the way in. The heat was more intense than before, and after a few days of trekking, Baba developed chafing around the groin, which made walking painful, but he kept up walking bow-legged. Footnote: although Meher Baba was 54 years old at the time, he still walked at an incredibly fast pace. Noticing Baba's discomfort, Shagan, who was familiar with Ayurvedic medicine, said that if they applied a paste of chickpea flour, the rash would subside. But where was he to get chickpeas in the middle of the mountains? Luckily, with the aid of one of the Nepalese coolies, Erich located some, and Shagan prepared the medication and applied it to Baba's rash. But the next morning, the preparation had gotten so sticky that Baba could not separate his legs, and warm water had to be applied gently to remove it. It took half the day to remove the gook from Baba's skin, but it did heal the rash. After this, another emergency had to be faced. The days of walking in the intense summer heat had proven to be too much for Kaka, who was 57. He suffered a heart attack. Fortunately, it was a minor one. And after resting a while, he managed to continue. After walking all day and spending the nights at Nakori, Narasu and Sinyansu, Baba and the men left. Okay, wait, let me start this. After walking all day and spending the nights at Nakori, Darasu and Sinyasu, Baba and the men left Sinyasu at 4:30 on the morning of Friday, 16 April 1948, and trekked to Terry Garwal. They carried kerosene lanterns to light the way. Since the road was being paved, it was full of heaps of rubble, causing them to occasionally stumble as they walked. Finally, they reached Terry, where Baba and the men took a bus to Rishikesh the following morning. From there, they proceeded immediately to Hardwar and boarded a train to Delhi. Upon arriving in Delhi, they took a train to Agra, which they reached on the evening of the 18th. Baba worked in Agra for 3 days, contacting 7 musts and a number of seekers. Among the most interesting was Majzub Baba, a high must in filthy rags, who sat across the street from the mental hospital and constantly muttered to himself. This must refer to himself as the Emperor of Agra, and perhaps he was, though naturally a stranger might think he belonged across the street in the mental hospital. Another was Haji Baba, a good must who lived in a room in a mosque and constantly gave away money. Haji used to tell people that he lived in a tavern where he drank wine. That day, the Saki himself was gracing his tavern to refill his cup to intoxicate him even more. Leaving Agra by the Punjab Mail at noon on Wednesday, 21 April, Baba returned to Ahmednagar the next afternoon, driven by Adi Sr. from Manmad Junction. At the end of the tour, Baba explained, I had planned to contact 56 advanced souls, and this has been done. I am therefore satisfied with the successful conclusion of our trip, though it meant undergoing hardships on the way. That the day after Baba arrived, Adi drove him as usual at 8 a.m. from Rusi Pops to the ice factory bungalow. Baba went through the post and telegrams that had arrived while he was away and met Don, Hendu, Padre, and Sarosh. Don showed Baba the cover and some pages of proofs of the wayfarers, and Baba expressed his pleasure at the work. Baba returned to Rusi Pops for lunch, and Adi drove him back to the Mandalees at 3 p.m. On 24 April, Baba took the women to see two pictures at Sarosh Cinema from 6 to 10 a.m. The next day, he and the women were driven to Pimpelgaon to inspect the progress of the new house. Baba instructed Sarosh and Manboob that the work should be finished by the end of June without any compromise in the quality. Deshmukh and his family visited for a few days from the 26th, and Meherji and Nariman also arrived. Dina Talati arrived on the 29th, and a few days later got a car and his family. Dina presented Baba with her late husband Naval's ring, and Baba told her, from now on, you belong solely to me. Whenever Deshmukh was with Baba during vacations, his constant companion was the typewriter, on which he kept pounding throughout the day. Baba had given Deshmukh points to write about in the form of articles, and he was also compiling the master's discourses to be published. Baba dictated titles for each of the articles and also dictated a few new ones. Baba also asked him to assist Narina. She was writing articles, which Deshmukh was to edit, for her book titled Fragments from a Spiritual Diary. And Ghani was still working on the manuscript for God Speaks, which Baba would review. During the early Cosmopeth Toddy Shop days in Pune, a sweeper named Badur used to come to Merwan Seth. For a few months during the period of Baba's coming down, according to Baba's instructions, Badur gave Baba a bucketful of human waste, which he applied to Baba's body in a room at Bua Sahib's. From that time on, Bahadur had begun composing ghazals, which he sang to Baba nightly at the Pune Japti. He would also visit Baba occasionally at Meherabad, where Baba returned from the when Baba returned from the Himalayas. Bahadur suddenly came to see him at the ice factory bungalow in Ahmednagar on 4 May 1948. Bahadur sang a ghazal he had recently composed, and as Prasad, Baba handed him a Marathi book about Baba, a Baba locket, and 10 rupees. Okay, Marilyn, you want to pick it up from here?
Yes. Another old contact, Kashanath, the laundryman of the Manzil Imim days, had contracted leprosy and died in Mehrabad. The Babar Gangaram of Manzil Imim was now residing in Pune and was also a frequent visitor during this period. For those in Meher Baba's close contact, a circular was issued on 4 May, according to which they had to follow any one of the following 5 instructions for 1 month from 21 June to 20 July 1948. 1. Observe silence. 2. Take 1 meal in 24 hours with tea or coffee once. 3. Feed 1 new poor person every day with your own hands, morsel by morsel. 4. Repeat daily 1 name of God 100,000 times. It should be orally repeated, sitting in any convenient posture, not necessarily in one session. 5. Not to touch money or carry it, not to touch anyone of the opposite sex. This is not applicable to children under age 7. Not to hit anyone under any circumstances, even in jest. Not to insult or abuse anyone, even when provoked. Every person was to sign the circular and return it by mail to Baba, indicating which one of the 5 restrictions they would be observing. This circular was also sent to his close lovers and followers in America, Europe, and Australia. On Sunday, 9 May 1948, Babadas brought an old must from Nagpur named Rama Sumar Baba. He was kept at the ice factory bungalow where Baba worked with him. Maharaj, as the must was called, was near 80 and clad only in a loincloth. He was gentle and fond of dogs and cows, which were attracted to him. 8 to 10 cows and several dogs were kept for him in Ahmednagar. He would give the cows their fodder to eat and then lie down while the cows licked his body from head to foot. But the must himself would never eat, except at the times Baba would feed him. Baba stated Maharaj did not fit into any particular category of musts, that he was of a unique type, but a high must. Baba worked with him for 5 days and then sent him back to Nagpur with Baba Das on the 14th. In world affairs, there had been terrible disturbances in Palestine for some time. On midnight of 14 May, independence from the British was achieved and the new Jewish state of Israel was proclaimed. On various occasions, Baba had stated that he had to find a home in the world for the Jewish people. And finally, it had come to pass. There's the footnote. Mani related that Baba heard the news announcing the establishment of the State of Israel on the radio. From 20 May, Baba began communing with Ali Shah, who was brought to the ice factory bungalow by Baidul. Baba was also going back and forth to Mehrabad and Pimplegown regularly to inspect the building work being done there. Elizabeth had to return to America because of her failure to get a visa extension, and she left on 19 May and flew from Bombay the following day. Meheru's sister Nagu had come for her holidays and was with the women at Pop's. Elizabeth's dog, Foundy, was old and blind by then and in poor health. Knowing that Nagu loved animals, Elizabeth asked her to take care of Foundy in her absence. While Elizabeth was away, Foundy's health deteriorated further. One day, Nagu mentioned to Baba that Foundy had become disinterested in eating, as Meheru narrated. That morning, Baba came to the bedroom where Foundy was tied to see how he was. Baba petted him and offered him milk, which Foundy tried to take. Then, just as Baba was stepping out of the room, Foundy breathed his last. Foundy was so fortunate to have had his last touch from Baba. As Baba had promised Elizabeth 6 months earlier, Foundy had indeed outlived Mahatma Gandhi. Baba instructed that Foundy be buried on Mehrabad Hill near Baba's other pets. During this period, Rustam Kaka, Hathidaru's wife Silla, nicknamed Kaku, had been ill for 6 months. When she received the master's May circular, she resolved to fast for 1 month. The doctor was against her doing so, but she was determined. Baba unexpectedly visited her one day and gave Rustam instructions about her treatment. Rustam said, Silla wants to fast for a month. Would she be able to? Baba inquired. Yes, Baba, I will, she bravely replied. You will die, Baba warned. If I die by following your order, it would be my good fortune, Silla stated. Smiling, Baba left her without saying anything more. Silla fasted and thereafter recovered her health. Baba's brother Baram came to see Baba on 30th May with his daughter Gulnar. He discussed with Baba the transfer of Baba House out of Baba's name and into the names of Baram and Jalbai. Baba and the women were driven to Mehrabad on Tuesday, 1 June 1948. Baba got out at Lower Mehrabad and the women were driven up the hill. The opening ceremony for the new hall at Lower Mehrabad took place by Baba, taking his seat inside and the Mandali performing arti before him. Baba then went up the hill. There, Kekobad performed the Navjot ceremony of Jangu and Meher Desai. At 11 a.m., Baba returned to Lower Mehrabad and began giving interviews to those who had come, including Kishan Singh Gadagar, Balnatu, Minu Pohowala, and the Pune Theosophical Group. After inquiring about Kishan's journey in health, Baba asked, "Now, what do you want?" Kishan replied, "Is it for me to say what I need or for my master to decide what I should have?" Baba was quick in spelling out this reply. Forget the idea of master and just answer the question. Then I need your love, devotion for you, and inseparable union with you, said Kishan. Will you give it to me? Baba smiled, and though he did not answer, when Kishan left Mehrabad, he felt Baba had given him much. He was told to return again on 4 September, and on that occasion, Baba commented to him, "You are one of the few people whom I have selected for my spiritual work, and I will call you even without your asking." Kishan was
I have an appointment for Dr. Cooley
Wrote
on October 2nd.
somebody
And I
mute.
need to cancel that. June 16th, 1944.
Can you mute
Rose
yourself?
Boarding to RR.
Oh, hold on, I can do it. I didn't realize I had that capacity there. Hello.
Oh,
Now,
actually, I think I did it, but it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
all right. No, because I see, oh, okay, you are the host. I came in as a host, but sorry, anyway. You were one of the few people. Uh, so Kishon was called once every 3 months to meet. Oh, did I read that? Yes. Oh, no, to meet Baba. Balna too had brought a sadhu called Mauni Bua, who had taken a vow of silence and spent his time wandering about on pilgrimages. During his interview, Baba asked him, "Do you have lustful thoughts?" Writing on his chalkboard, Mani Ba admitted that he did. "Do you get angry?" "Yes, very much so." "Have you performed any lustful action?" "Before I adopted silence, but not now." "What do you want? God?" "No, your grace." "Will you do as I tell you?" "Yes, I will." "Think carefully before you promise." "I will do so." "Listen carefully. Eat meat twice a day and once a day drink a bottle of liquor." "I haven't the financial provision." "I will make the provision for you." Mauni Bawa hesitated and then wrote, "No, it will be impossible for me." Baba explained, "Then you are not fit. Better to continue your pilgrimages for 1 year. Don't touch money, eat only by begging. If you don't get anything, go without food. After a year, ask yourself whether you are prepared to obey Baba. If you are ready, come back to me. Otherwise, continue doing as you have been doing until you are prepared to obey me, and then come." Baba asked Vishnu Chavan of Pune, "Are you prepared to obey me to the extent of killing your child if I order you to?" Chavan said that he would do so, and Baba was pleased by his sincerity of purpose. Baba listened to Adi Sr. and Rustam Kaka Singh. He had his dinner on the hill and returned to Ahmednagar with the women at 8:30 p.m. Meanwhile, Gadagar had been actively carrying out Baba's work in Pune, and through his influence, several people devoted their lives to Baba and surrendered at the master's feet. Among them was Laxmikant Balwantro, Tadi, 25, whose entire family would eventually surrender to Baba. Tadi was working in a college under Gadagar's supervision. After Baba's return from Uttar Kashi, Tadi wrote to him seeking permission for darshan, which Baba granted for 15 May. But at first, Tadi could not get leave from his office. On the day he was supposed to be in Ahmednagar, Tadi fell sick with high fever. A few days later, he learned that the date for darshan had been changed to 1 June. Strangely enough, Tadi's boss had given him the day off because he was ill, and also because his boss indicated that anyone visiting a saint should be granted leave. Tadi kept his appointment and saw Baba in Mehrabad on 1 June. He was enamored at once and thought, "It would have been so much better if my parents had also come." As soon as this thought came into his mind, Baba remarked to him, "I can't see the whole page, dear. It's cut off." Baba remarked to him with a smile, "A little bit bigger, please." "Don't worry. Your parents will come and also your whole family." Baba asked, "What are you doing?" I am a hostel superintendent, Tade replied. Remain on good terms with others. Treat all equally. And remember, I am always with you. There were 80 students in Tade's hostel, all of different castes, but as Baba had advised, he treated all of them with love and rendered help to each one. He was popular with his students and realized the full significance of Baba's admonition. As mentioned during this stay in Ahmednagar in 1948, Baba would visit Meherabad occasionally and also go to the family quarters near Arangan to see those close ones residing there. There were 4 families staying at the family quarters: Savak Kotwals, Chagans, Sidhus, and Jungles. Whenever Baba returned from a tour, these families would sweep and clean the compound and keep everything in order, waiting for him. On this occasion, when Baba visited them after his tour to the Himalayas, Nergis Kotwal remarked, "Baba, so long we have been waiting for you. We daily clean the house and compound in anticipation of your arrival."
Okay, thanks, Marilyn. We are coming near the close, but I think we could go a little further. Marcia Joy, would you like to read any today? She might just be
Yeah,
listening.
I'm here. I was
Oh,
listening,
okay.
but I'm here. Let me get my glasses. Okay, hold on. Where did I put them? Okay, I can make it bigger. Let me just sit down where I can see. Yeah, I was listening. Okay. Baba entered.
At the top.
Oh,
Yeah, the very top.
that's what I have here.
All right. Well, let me.
It is your good luck.
Okay, I see that now. It okay. It is your good luck to wait for me, Baba remarked. Who is so fortunate to wait like that? It is a great penance and austerity to wait for me until I come. Let me turn it sideways. I'm reading this. I'm trying to turn it. Oh, okay, this is better. Baba entered the family quarters and by gestures asked that Vishnu call Chagan. Chagan was in the toilet, and after quickly washing his hands and pulling up his trousers, he appeared. Baba asked, "What took him so long?" Chagan explained the cause of the delay, and Baba began taunting him. "But why didn't you come as you were? God himself is knocking at your door, and you keep him waiting by tying your loincloth. Remember, if you are not diligent and alert when he knocks, he will go away while you go on fumbling with your underwear until your dying day. You should be ready to welcome Paramatma anytime." I can't see now. These women wait for me, scanning the horizon for my. Can you scroll up? Okay. Okay, hold on. Okay. Chagan's 14-year-old daughter, Shaktuntala.
Wait a minute. Go back to "these women wait for me."
I don't have that.
Horizon for my
You
car.
I don't have that. Okay, now I have it. Okay.
And there you
No,
are.
that I
Continue
had.
that.
Right. Okay. You should be ready to welcome Paramatma anytime. These women wait for me, scanning the horizon for my car, and there you are in the toilet, bungling with your drawstring. Chagan's 14-year-old daughter, Shaktunala, stayed at Meherabad during the school holidays and would always prepare and keep jam ready for Baba, but Baba rarely put in an appearance at their home. Still, in the hope that he would come, she kept up her habit, but perhaps not as diligently as she should have. As weeks passed, she prepared jam every day, and not as early as she used to do at the beginning. Can you scroll down up? Okay, let me see. Well, I'm missing the top line. Okay, let me see here now. The women Mandalay were still
No, on this day, when
Yeah.
Baba arrived, go up to the paragraph previous to that one.
Right there on the stand.
Oh, okay. But okay, let me see. The jam on the stove, but it had not thickened. She shyly told Baba that it would take a little while for the jam. Okay, on this day when Baba arrived, he conveyed to Shakuntala that he was hungry and that she should give him something to eat. Shakuntala had the jam on the stove, but it had not yet thickened. She shyly told Baba that it would take a little while for the jam to congeal. Bring it as it is, he replied, and he ate the warm jam with a chapati. Shakuntala left ashamed of her laxity and so renewed her practice as before. Although Baba was not visiting every day, she kept his jam ready on time, and thus the task proved a medium for remembering the master. The women Mandalay were still staying at Rusi Pops in Abhinagar while the Pimpalgan construction work was going on, and some of the Mandalay were at the ice factory bungalow nearby. The rest of the men and women were at Mirabad. And that's all I have, J. Bob.
All right, thank you, Marcia. We are getting past the hour, but just to let everybody have a chance, Rosalie, you want to read a page or two before we close?
Yeah, all right.
Go ahead.
Baba continued to take the women to films at Sarosh Cinema. They saw one film on 3rd June, 2 films on the 5th, beginning at 5:45 a.m., and another film on the 6th. Footnote. For the titles of these films and others seen by Baba, see David Fenster, MEHER, A Divine Romance. Okay. On Monday, 7 June 1948, Adi Sr. drove Baba to Pune and Bombay, where he boarded a train for Baroda. He was accompanied by Baidul, Chuggan, Eric, and Gustaji. On the 8th, he again contacted the 5th Plane Must, Chambu Shah, and the Must Syed Basruddin. From Baroda, Baba proceeded to Nadiad, where on the 9th he communed with Jankidas Maharaj, the chief of an ashram, and also contacted 3 sadhus. On 10 June, Baba traveled from Nadiad to Ahmedabad, where he worked with Jagannath Maharaj Must, a 5th Plane Must who lived in a temple and was the figurehead of an ashram. His ashram was a thriving place, daily giving free meals to wandering fakirs, sadhus, and poor people. Jagannath was over 90 years old, and despite the lavish meals at the ashram, he continued to eat only 2 bakris and 1 onion every day for many years. This saintly man inwardly recognized Baba's spiritual greatness, for he garlanded him, although Baba's identity again was not divulged. He then gave a yellow shawl to Baba and also one to each of the mandali. He handed Baba a puri and sweets, and Baba was highly gratified by the contact, commenting that Jagannath was an exceptionally humble, pure Salik. During that day, Baba worked with 9 must and 2 advanced souls in Ahmedabad. Among those, the most memorable was Mohammed Hussein, who had been sitting by one of the most repulsive places imaginable, a public latrine. He had been there for several years. The stench of the latrine was so overwhelming and offensive that no one could remain near it for even a few minutes. Yet Baba worked with the must in the latrine. Baitullah Shah, an advanced soul, was staying in a suburb of Ahmedabad. On the evening of the 10th, Baba went to contact him, but as he was surrounded by his many devotees, Baba decided to see him first thing in the morning, which he did. Baitullah Shah prayed 10 hours a day, 5 times for 2 straight hours. And every Thursday night at 11 o'clock, the must read the Quran aloud for 16 straight hours until 3 in the afternoon of the following day. At this time, a group of militant Muslim separatists under the fanatic leadership of Qasim Razvi were causing turmoil throughout the area. Footnote: Qasim Razul was a Muslim extremist and close advisor to the Nizam of Hyderabad. He organized thousands into an armed brigade and openly propagated that Muslims had the religious obligation to dominate over Hindus and establish Muslim sovereignty in the country. He later fled to Pakistan, where he was granted asylum. Many atrocities have been perpetuated with looting, burning down buildings, raping women, and kidnapping children. Fear was everywhere, and the atmosphere of the city and its populace was tense. The most insignificant incident could spark off a riot. During his attempt to contact Baitullah Shah, Baba instructed Chuggan to stay in Ahmedabad with the luggage. As Baba and the Mandali were walking to a bus stop to catch the bus back to Ahmedabad, a frightening incident occurred. When the bus came, Erich and Baidul boarded first to find a seat for Baba. Then Baba followed them inside. Gustaji, who could not walk as fast as the others, was plodding along slowly, about 50 yards behind. It was time for the bus to start, and Baba clapped for Gustaji to hurry. Gustaji at once started running. A small boy was walking toward him just then, and seeing this strange-looking man in a black cap running toward him, he thought Gustaji was going to seize him. The boy got frightened, turned around, and started running, screaming that a man was after him. Hearing the boy's shrieks, a few people appeared and began shouting, "Chas, Arabs, Chas," which at that time was tantamount to shouting, "Murderers!" Pointing at Gustaji, they mistook him for an Arab chasing the boy. Hearing these inflammatory cries, a dozen men with clubs ran to the scene ready to pounce upon Gustaji. Had Baba's help not been there, Gustaji would surely have been beaten to death. Baba signaled to him from a distance to stop still in his tracks. Gustaji stopped running and stood still, panting. While he was standing still, the local people had a chance to observe his gentle features, and they hesitated before raising their clubs. They began asking roughly, "Who are you?" Where have you come from? Are you an Arab? Since Gustaji could not speak by Baba's order, Erich and Baidu stepped forward and intervened. Erich said, brothers, we have come from Bombay, and this old man with us was trying to catch the bus. Why should an old man like him run after a child? These words calmed the mob, and they believed Erich was telling the truth and were satisfied. And thus Gustaji was saved. After contacting Mus the next day at Mayagam, Baba left for Bombay on Saturday, June 12, 1948. But on the way, the train was delayed at the Bulsar station due to a breach in the bridge over the Sanjan River. A terrific cyclone was lashing the coast, causing a flood.
Okay, folks, I think it's time we stop the reading here. Let me end the recording.